everyone and welcome back to my channel. As part of a special Halloween celebration, we are reviewing Insidious. Directed by James Wan, starring Lynn Shay, Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne. The film is 10 years old now, so I am going to be discussing some spoilers. If you have not seen it and you want to see it, you might want to step away now and come back at a later date. But before we go any further, if you could be a dear, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. It really does help me and the channel out, and we thank you if you do. So Insidious tells the story of a family who have moved into a new home, and their young boy strangely falls into a coma while he is sleeping. As time goes through in this coma, it actually becomes quite evident to the family that something more is happening here. This isn't just a coma. There is some paranormal activity at play here. And as Lynn Shay's paranormal investigating team arrive, we discover that there is a demon trying to latch on to the young boy's soul and take control of his body. And that really is the plot summary of Insidious. Straight out the gate, the score to this movie is so haunting and chilling. I just love it. I think it's such a good, simple but effective score. It really does get the hair on your neck standing up and make you feel tense and awaiting something to go wrong whilst we're just in the title card sequence. The sound design is excellent through the whole film, whether it be a creaking floorboard or whether it be a silent moment where we're waiting for the scare. James Wan does have excellent sound design and he has excellent timing as to when to make the jump happen. He does seem to nail that really well. I think there's good performances in this movie all round. The two standouts for me are Rose Byrne and Patrick Wilson. They really do feel like quite a cute couple together, and I appreciate the fact that in a pretty stereotypical horror movie to some standards, these characters would not be given any depth at all, and they're not given that much depth here, but there is some character to them. I can tell you that Renee wants to be a musician. I can tell you that Patrick Wilson's character used to have these dreams when he was a kid and he had it repressed in his memory. They are characters. They do have a story. They do have a personality. And I also thought they had a good chemistry, especially in the early part of the film before the horror had really kicked in, when they're just sort of tickling and playing around on bed and laughing with each other. They're very cute and they feel very real as a couple. The children actors, on the other hand, I am not going to judge simply because they're children and that feels mean. But secondly, one of the performances throughout the whole film is literally a kid in a coma. I don't know how I'm meant to judge that really, so I'm just going to step over the kids' performances and all in all. James Wan's camera work is flexing to its fullest here, especially in some of the scarier moments. The way he pans on things and he'll tilt upwards and get these bizarre angles that just naturally feel a bit uneasy. It's so nice to take in, and as somebody who wants to make films, I find it very inspiring to look at that sort of thing. It's so well done. I actually really enjoy the subtlety of the scares in Insidious. There's that moment where the guy is standing behind the crib and the curtains are in front of him. It's so subtle that I honestly missed it. The very first time I watched this film, I don't know what made Rose Byrne jump. Now I watch it and I can't take my eyes off it. I know it's there. It's such a creepy fucking moment. It really is, especially if you experienced it like I did the first time around, where you literally looked at it and went, what? And then you watched it a second time and you just felt yourself go, well, shit. I like that subtlety. I don't even remember the music kicking in to give you that sort of something's there moment. It's so smooth and just notice it if you notice it. My favourite scare is actually the moment where Rose Byrne is taking out the bin bags and putting them in the rubbish, and the music changes to that famous tiptoe through the tulips moment, and through the window you see this shadowed out young boy dancing kind of creepily to it, and I don't know why that's scary, but every time I see it I am just shivering a little bit like, no. Don't fuck with that. Go to the shop or something. Just get in the car, leave. And as much as that is the moment I enjoy, what I think is excellent about that scare is that it keeps on building. As Rose Byrne goes back in the house looking for the young boy, she follows the sounds of footsteps and giggles, and then you see the rocking horse upstairs going back and forth, to which she stops. Then there's a moment of silence and a door bursts open. It's so well connected to the next thing that it keeps you on this moment of a guitar string tightening, that it's just masterful. It's so good. I'm gushing over James Wan a little bit here. In regards to the demons, or the spooky stuff, if you will, I'm just going to call him Darth Maul Face, because that's what I've called him for as long as I've known him. I think he's a fantastic design. It is naturally scary, freaky. There is something about his design that is alarming. The old lady, on the other hand, no, it doesn't do anything for me, if I'm being honest. I get where she fits into the story, I get why she's in it, and I think the photographs of her are a little bit chilling. It's just not that scary of a design for me, though. I look at things like that and my brain processes the fact that at some point the lights came on and she took off her veil and she probably just had a cup of tea and sort of went, yeah, oh, we're going for a cigarette break. All right, cool. Back in 30. I don't know, it's just too human of a design, if that makes sense. So at this stage, we introduce the Lin Shaye character, the paranormal investigating team. I do think that Specs and, I've forgotten his name, the other guy, I'll put it up on the screen. That's gonna bug me. I find that they make the film a little bit cheesy and they cross the line a little bit. They put their tiptoes over the line into potentially a B-movie territory, but thankfully they don't dive headfirst into it. They start to explain the further, which is essentially this place within your mind. It's kind of like dreaming, but you're really within it rather than, you know, just imagining it. It's like your soul is dreaming, is the best way I can describe it. It could come across really stupid, but I think they handle it well by keeping it vague and keeping the rules to a very bare minimum. I think that's clever. It keeps the audience intrigued as to what's going to happen in this area. The environments are constantly changing. It's constantly pitch black. It's really dark. You can't really see what's going on all the time, a lot of smoke. There's this whole thing with time, potentially. There's a really cool bit where there's a family in the house that don't seem to acknowledge Patrick Wilson's presence there, but they keep on like changing their position every time you would blink your eyes, for example, and they're always doing something different. 1 minute they're ironing, then they're eating dinner, then they're sat at a table, then they're all dead. And then just one of them standing there with a shotgun. I like the intrigue. I really want to know what's going on there. What's with the whole time jumping? Does time work differently in the further? Who is this family? Did they live there before Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne moved in? This is where I think the further is at its best. The intrigue. Unfortunately, I do think the final act of Insidious does let down the rest of the movie. And I can pinpoint the time of which where I think it happens. And it's around the time where Lin Shaye starts a seance wearing a gas mask. I have no understanding as to why she has a gas mask. Other moments in the film where people go into the further or communicate with in the further and they're not wearing gas masks or anything like that. I don't get it. The end hose of the gas mask is in Specs' ear. What? I don't actually get this part at all. It seems like you're trying to add a cool thing to a simple thing when it doesn't need it. Just hold a seance. Just hold a seance. I don't need all this Darth Vader shit going on with it. It doesn't work for me. However, this scene does play host to my favourite moment in the entire film. Specs gets bitch slapped by a young child across the room, and yeah, I laugh at that moment every single time. But my least favourite part of the movie is actually when we basically get the full reveal of Darth Maul Face, as I call him. Because at this stage, he goes from being Darth Maul Face to the Goat Man. I found this guy really creepy and scary until I see those hairy Billy Goat legs. And then I just find him funny after that. It's not scary. And here's why. Because if you put me in a fight with some red-faced snake-tongued demon, I might be fucked. Put me in a fight with a billy goat, oh, that billy goat's getting fucked up. That's why it isn't scary. You had something to start with that's genuinely like, I don't know how to deal with that. Now you've got something that I've seen farmers deal with on a Monday to Friday business. I also find his office is so jarring compared to the rest of the further. It raises so many questions. The further has been so bland and empty and mysterious, and yet suddenly this guy has got a whole office warehouse that's full of lights and puppets and marionettes and music players, and it's like, God, when did we enter the Tim Burton movie? Totally different to anything else we've seen, and it makes me wonder, is this guy like the king of the further? Does this guy's office constantly change if the rest of the further changes? I think this is just so bad in this part. I really enjoy this part of the film. It's the moment where I start going on my phone and going, okay, whatever. And of all the things he's doing in there, is he's sharpening his metallic fingers. You know, can we do something scary? Maybe he's eating eyeballs or something, you know, a little bit. Ugh, what's going on with this dude? Using a fucking nail file isn't going to give me any sort of fear, is it? Come on. I do like the little reveal at the end that the old lady managed to take over Patrick Wilson's body, though, and I like the way it's revealed within the photograph and how Rose Byrne finds it, and you get that awesome dolly zoom shot on her face. I'm a big fan of dolly zoom shots. I think they're a lot of fun. But it's really effective here, and it's a great way to finish and leave the audience with a lot of intrigue towards Part 2, Chapter 2. I'm going to give Insidious an 8 out of 10. Insidious is a solid horror movie that just goes a little bit wonky in the third act for me. It's enjoyable with a good pace, it's written well and performed well. It does a whole lot more right than it does wrong. It just really does fall apart in that last 20 to 30 minutes for me. Apart from that, I absolutely recommend it for you to watch this Halloween. Thank you for watching this review. Please be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment as well. Have you seen Insidious? What did you think about it? Where does it rank up in your favourite horror movies of all time? Take care, and I look forward to seeing you on the next review.